Hi, welcome to Project Geospatial. I'm Adam Simmons, and we're here at GEOINT 2023 in St. Louis, Missouri. I have the pleasure once again to talking with Kleos, seeing what they're up to this year. And here with me is Andy. Andy.
Hi, Adam.
Yes, welcome back.
Thanks for talking to us again.
Yes, you're going to steal the stove from Peter from last year.
Yeah.
So
he's a difficult act to live up to.
Oh, yeah. So, you literally.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, go ahead and introduce yourself. Remind people who you are and how you got involved with the industry.
Yeah, sure. So, I co-founded Kleos in 2017. Kleos was a spin out of a space engineering firm I had in the UK at the time, which I started in 2005. So I was working in space engineering for a very long time, particularly in planetary science, Earth observation missions, but more on the hardware side. So building sensors, building instruments to go to different planets, to go to Mars to look for life, or to go on to the larger Sentinel spacecraft that would look at weather or do Earth observation capabilities as well. So it's really old space. And so during that time period in the UK, obviously new space became a thing. And we then realized we were working in old space. And new space really opened up the opportunity to not just work with ESA or NASA to deploy sensors, you could deploy your own sensors. So we were starting to work on some RF interferometry projects to look at the science between how you can fly small satellites to work out where radio transmissions were coming from the ground. Our first experiments into that weren't very successful. We couldn't do what we were trying to do, but we did find that we could do some other stuff with the science, and there was some really interesting capability there, which we felt that there was a business case for this. There was if we could raise a bit of money, launch some satellites. All sounds very easy when you say it out loud and first of all. So we thought that would be a good opportunity to really sort of move the business from an old space project delivery company into a new space capability or service delivery. So that was kind of where we kicked off. I codenamed the first business plan Kleos, which was the Greek word to hear or for renown or glory, and it was just a code name for the project. And then that obviously rolled into a really exciting opportunity. Got more excited about what we could deliver into the marketplace. Evolved over a period of time until there was a business.
That's a great brand.
That's where we are.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, diving into the company specifically, you have RF satellites, right? Let's talk about the capabilities a bit. What are the capabilities?
So we use it's Earth observation, but in the radio spectrum.
Yes.
So we're looking at where radios are being used, where there's communication, and therefore really where there's human activity. So where, if you're looking at electro-optical imagery or SAR imagery, they take photos and you're trying to find interesting artifacts within that. We're slightly different in the sense that we're locating those artifacts straight away. So it's a little bit harder to visualize because we don't have a picture. So because we're looking at the radio spectrum. So what we're trying to do is really make that data as easy as possible to ingest alongside all those other data sets and phenomena in our industry so that we can be layering them together to generate a really interesting analyzed output. So what we are essentially delivering is points on a map.
Yeah.
Where are we seeing radio activity? Where are there humans speaking to each other, particularly on handheld walkie-talkies or handheld devices?
Well, you bring up equipment. What types of equipment do you pick up signals from?
We can pick up really low power transmitters, so even handheld 1-2 watt type transmitters. So these are things that people are using particularly within a sort of battle space environment, or where they're wanting to do some, let's say, any sort of coordination of an illegal activity like illegal transshipping. So this is where two ships come together and they coordinate moving goods from one ship to the other. These guys aren't using AIS. They're doing it in the dark. They could be very small ships, certainly not visible from a electro-optical perspective, but we see those radios talking to each other. And so therefore we know that there's something going on where you're not expecting it to be.
Yeah.
So we find that hidden human activity, which I think is a really key point.
You fill the gap between where a lot of people look at AIS only. You actually can fill the gap with the other pieces of the spectrum.
Yeah.
To validate or even tell the story of what's going on.
Yeah, we give a situational awareness.
Yeah.
That is beyond the normal tracking systems, I think is a key point. Because if there's a AIS there and there's legitimate activity, who cares what they're doing? They're just going about their normal business. But for instance, off the coast of Ukraine, around the Sea of Azov, where we're seeing a whole load of radio activity, there's certainly no AIS anywhere near there. So we can start to pick up trends. And because our business model is based on standard collection zones, where we collect the same area over and over and over again, we start to build up a pattern. What does normal human activity look like? What is normal? What stands out? How are things changing? That's really important from a situational awareness perspective. And again, you start to build up that picture of this pattern of life around human activity. And that's kind of the joy, if you like, of RF. And especially if you look at the same place over and over and over again, you start to build that up in terms of picture. That means today's delivery of RF activity gives you true insight because you get the whole context of what's normal in there as well. So, because you get all of the archive data too. So that today's data, you get much more value out of it.
Excellent. Well, let's talk about the snapshot of who you are now. You've had a lot of changes over the last year, right? And, a lot of new partnerships, perhaps?
Yeah, so we've got, the last year, we've got our constellation going in this space, delivering data, operational data over these two standard collection zones or areas of interest, if you like. And what we're now starting to do is really look at how we can work with other partners, whether it's people that are delivering imagery or analytic partners. So we're very keen on ourselves not being the analyst. We want to be analyst friendly. So it's very useful for us to be able to deliver product in such a way that helps those analysts develop the applications, the solutions for their end users, because they want to bring in all these different data sets. So partnerships are super important to us. They are the lifeblood of our business. We are very keen on working across the domain. Our most recent partnership, which we announced yesterday, was with General Atomics, CCRI. So they have this really cool platform which ingests our data and does things with it, but they also have the ability to look at different parts of the domain, perhaps drone-based data as well. How does drone-based RF data work with the high ground, space-based data? So not just looking at different phenomena within space, but looking at different phenomena within different parts of the domain as well. So air-breathing assets as well as space-based assets. How does that deliver a better picture or better situational awareness for the customer, for the end user? So I think we can look at partnerships horizontally, but also vertically in the marketplace as well. So yeah, we're always open to partnerships.
Awesome. Well, that's incredible. So briefly before we wrap up, can you touch on a little bit of what we're looking at here in the background?
Yeah, so this is the basic product. You start with location of where we've seen radio activity. And so this gives you, if you like, a kind of heat map with regard where there is radios being used. You can then start to zoom into it, getting into individual points on a map, which start to give you more insight with regard to what's going on for the analyst. Within this particular display here, we have a baseball card associated with a point on a map, which starts to give more information to the analyst, which is, what does the signal look like? From that, you can start to characterize it. Fingerprinting those signals, you can start to do things like characterizing, is it voice or is it a digital message? Is it radar? What sort of power is the transmitter? Is it a handheld or is it mass mounted? Those simple filters that we can provide to the customer, to the analyst, makes the analyst job much easier to find the needles in the haystack. And that's really what we're trying to do here. So it's taking our product, which is, a data product, and really bringing it to life and making it much easier for analysts to work with around the world. So this is what we're looking at here.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Is any final words about Kleos this year you'd like to relay to our audience about who you are and what you've been up to?
Well, I think we're in a fantastic shape. We've got daily deliveries going out every day. We're starting to evolve, growing our standard collection zone capability. We've got new payloads coming online this year as well, so that's another exciting delivery this year for our customer base. So I think we've got some really cool stuff going on and ready to rock and roll.
All right. One more thing. What keeps you going in this business, Andy? Why do you like it so much?
Well, I think there's
this is a message towards younger people out there, inspiring them to become a part of our awesome community here.
Well, I think it's because it applies to so many different applications. Okay. It's, whether it's you're doing imagery or RF doesn't really matter, because there's so many applications for geospatial data, whether it is the defense, the security, intelligence type applications, or whether it is, we're collecting over the Galapagos looking for illegal fishermen. So
Yeah.
there's a huge environmental capability there as well. And we don't put one in front of the other. We're agnostic to that application. We work with some incredible application developers to develop solutions to those. But I think this is the joy of this industry. It touches everything, whether it's the economy, tracking ships, whether it's environmental damage, societal damage. It really helps with a wide range of applications.
Well, thank you very much.
Right.
Well, this is Adam Simmons of Project Geospatial here at the Kleos booth, and we'll talk to everybody next time.
Thanks, Al.
Absolutely.